Having given you those updates, I'd like to address my theme for the President's Year of 2014. Oh, so what was that? So someone else must be controlling the clicker. Oh, there it was again. My theme is do one good thing and do one in return. Now, I'm addressing this to you individually, collectively tonight, but individually from me to you. So I'm speaking to each of you separately, and I'm going to explain what the theme means and what I'm asking you to do as a member of this profession. But you might say, well, what's one good thing? And that was one good thing. In fact, it was 5 good things versus nil. Look, it's only fair, right? Because when the shoe was on the other foot, not too long ago, I copped it big time from you guys, all right? And because I lived and worked here in the UK for 10 years, I have some great friends in this profession, great friends in England, not in the profession. This is a great place to work and live and a great place to know people and have great friendships. But when it came to cricket test matches, it was a real test of the friendship. I figure all I'm doing is getting even. And here's where I get ahead, because that's your team not feeling too great about the result. So we're clear about what one good thing is, and I think we're also clear about one not so good thing is. I won't go on with what happened to the T20s and the one days, because I'm sure you know all that as well. Look, this slide is asking you to think about, well, gee, when Craig took on the mantle of president in November, I thought about, well, a president that does his country and his profession proud, wouldn't you all want to do that if you had the opportunity in a small or large way? I was at an event like this a few years back, and a past president arrived and did what I'm doing now. He did it his way, and he had a message and he had a theme. And it really, really stuck with me, and I thought, I am moved by this person. And I thought, I'm going to carry this with me, and one day I might use it. And this is the day. And the person in question was Abolo. Abolo Alafabi was our first international president after 77 years of presidents, and now we're at 81 years. And this was the dinner in Australia that he arrived at to make his president's speech, introduce his theme, and present awards. He wore his national dress of Nigeria. He was a very proud man. I was moved. And I thought, wow, I'm going to carry that with me. So I thought, one day, if ever I have the opportunity, I'll represent my country in a global community, and I'll look to wear my national dress. So my aspiration was good. My execution was quite poor because I looked really hard at what the national address might be, for an Australian. So, of course, it's not hard for me to think about it because I live there. But I actually had to Google it and see if someone had any better advice. And as a consequence, I could turn up like this. And I thought, you know what, the hat's probably a bit much. So I thought, well, I could change the hat. And if there's any flies in the room, I'll be okay. I thought, oh, maybe they'd prefer a sporting theme. I could wear that to the annual dinner. Or I could be, come across not quite so clever, but with plenty of sun cream to represent the climate in which I live. So given those choices, it's probably pretty obvious to you why I'm standing here in a suit and a bow tie. But they were my choices. Notwithstanding that, Bola Afabi represented his country and he represented his profession. And although I'm not wearing sun cream and shorts, I hope to do the same in my presidential year. So I could dress up like that. I could have a shrimp on the barbie and make it quite social. And if you ever do come to Sydney, that's the view I'll give you, and that's the prawn we'll barbecue together. I'd like to make sure that Bola's efforts, and that was when he came to see you, by the way, and he carried that national dress around the world, and he carried his theme around the world, and that's what I want to tell you about now. Do one good thing and do one in return is my ask of you for the 2014 year. The first half, do one good thing, is I'd like you to think about what you could do for someone in the profession, not in your country. Yes, that's the hard bit. But we're all big grown-up people, and we should be able to challenge ourselves with the slightly tricky task of giving someone a hand in another country. It has to be in respect of our profession. Share something you're good at. Share a tool that you've used for which there's no IP, that someone in another country could use to help grow their profession. And if you could do that, their task is to do one in return, inside their country. So we have a student in Suva, which is the capital of Fiji, and he's doing his final CIPS exams and he can't afford the books. His employer can't afford to pay for them. There's a member in our 100,000 community that's spending 100 Australian dollars, about £54, to buy the books and make sure that he finishes his last year successfully. That student's one good thing in return will be to protect the books and look after them carefully so that he can pass them on to the student that is coming in behind him, a year behind him. There's a young procurement professional in Kent in the UK who did the CIPS 2 years ago. He wrote to a person on the CIPS website, didn't know him, not on the other side of the world, said he wanted to pursue the President's theme and do his one good thing, and would like to offer to help a student doing his final exams with his practice paper and comment on the student's answers in that practice paper. That person's name is Jonathan in the UK. The other person's name is Scott in Adelaide, Australia. They never knew each other. They do now. The one good thing I'm asking you to do is whatever you think you're good at, just one thing. I think I'm asking you for 3 hours out of your year to think of and do your one good thing. And the CIPS website has lots of email addresses that you can write to bravely and boldly to someone that you don't know on the other side of the world. And if you can devote that 3 hours, then we've got 100,000 people doing one good thing. And because the recipient of the one good thing knows that the other half of the contract must be fulfilled, which is they return one good thing to someone in their country, we'll have 200,000 one good things. And that will say something about our professional community. Because whatever we do collectively is multiplied by 100,000. Whatever you do individually and by yourself and on your own without your colleagues is multiplied by 1. The strength of us is our strength together, and to do one good thing and one in return is my ask. When would I like you to do it? In the next 2 months. Because in 2 months' time we'll be 6 months into this President's theme year. And you say, well, why don't I give you 7 months? Because we'll forget, right? And then we won't do it at all. So if I ask you to bring your time frame forward to 2 months and add some tone of urgency, then I think you'll respond. But some of us will forget because we're pretty busy, right? We get back to the office, the intro's pretty thick, and you'll forget what I asked. But I'm going to write to you again, and I'm going to remind you, and I'm going to ask you again, and then I'll give you another 2 months. But it'd be a whole lot better if we could do it in 2 months and show our professional community and other communities what we can do as a collective whole. On the website, there are stories of what people have done in their one good thing. I just gave you 2. There's more there. Actually, I know there's a lot more been done that's on the website because people sort of do it and they feel good about that and they move on and they don't log it. You know, they're modest. But it'd be good if you did log it because that's quite motivational to everyone else that would see what you've done. So that's my ask. Your one good thing, if you would, please. And if you could do it in 2 months, then these 500 people would have inspired 99,500 more. That would make us a community. Thank you.